What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and I feel, you know what? There is something different about this show.
What's up, everybody?
We got GameTime Bryan, of course, in the house. I can't,
I'm here. I'm finally here. Look at this place, man. I am surrounded by technology, man. This place is awesome.
So as
awesome.
So yeah, as you see a little quick thing of what we're in front of, and so I mean, we got it set up here. We try to figure it out, try to make it all work. There's that awkward moment of like,
It's a little awkward. Let me know how I sound, because I'm not right next to the mic. I'm going to talk a little louder. How do I sound, people? Do I sound okay? But yeah, it's awesome. I've been spending the last few days with Phil. And it's been awesome, man. I hope everybody's been good. We see that the Cowboys had a schedule release. We're gonna break it down. I'm excited, man. How about you?
I am too, man. Talk about football. I've been sucked into work this past week. I've been doing a lot. As Bryan came, we distracted him with some Florida things. So he was running around. So we weren't able to do a show of the day of, which was probably good. Scary. Yeah, which is definitely okay because we needed to kind of soak it all in, figure out what people were saying. Obviously, this is not training camp. I mean, we don't know what these teams are going to look like for sure. So as we talk about the roster, these are just as of moments of May. You're not winning anything in May, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just right before the broadcast. I decided to look back. I said, how long before the start of the season, right? That's what everybody wants to know. We had the draft, we had the schedule release. It's exactly starting tomorrow, 120 days before kickoff. So it's right around the corner. There's a lot that needs to be done between now and then, but you know the deal, Phil. It's the same team doesn't win the division.
Mm-mm.
That's not Game Time Bryan or Primetime Phil's opinion. That's a fact. It doesn't happen. Now, can it happen? Okay, I'd say no. So, Twiz, I'd say you're not going to win division. Does that mean you can't? Of course not. Lightning can always strike. I'm not going to say you can't, but it's going to be a tougher division.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're sitting pretty looking at the schedule to win this division. Now, we're going to break down. We're not going to get into each game in depth. We're going to do an overview and give us an early prediction. You know how that goes, Phil.
Yeah, as much as it means anything, it doesn't mean really absolutely nothing, especially even to us.
Fun.
When it comes here in the next couple of months. Obviously, when the teams are obviously getting put together, whether it's Washington, New York, now what New York will have going into that season opener. As we talk about the season, let's jump into the season opener. I mean, you're talking about the New York Giants. To me, it's a little bit boring, just because
it's predictable. Yeah,
Now,
Giants.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the Giants themselves. I'm talking about just the schedule being the opener. It's just something that we wash, rinse, repeat kind of thing.
Yeah, it's Sunday Night Football, September 10th at MetLife Stadium. I may go to that game because it's so close. I'm strongly already talking about going to that game, so it'll be fun, but kind of predictable, and that's fine for me. I'm good with that. But I was just looking at the schedule, and I think it sets up good for us. What do you think, man?
There's some tough stretches. I think when you look at those, I'm kind of surprised that Cowboys have the fifth hardest schedule when they showed that.
Just game who they're playing.
Yeah,
I honestly think that's what it is. Every Eagle fans, we played basically the same teams you played, like the same. It's already predetermined. Hey Stacy, how are you?
What's up?
How are you? Twiz, what up, man?
Man, there's a lot of people in this chat as we.
Twiz, man, I love you. Of course, I expect you to say that, and we're only looking on paper what we think. We'll get into our predictions. But yeah, that's what makes it fun, right? If we knew the answer now, it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
any
we
fun.
wouldn't watch it. Yeah,
it wouldn't be any fun. But just breaking down some of the schedule highlights. I was wrong. I will take it on the chin. I thought for sure that we would go to play Buffalo or the Jets overseas. We're not going overseas. And you know what? That's good with me. I don't know about you. How do you feel about that, Phil? Don't you like not having to travel overseas? Dallas already gets the shaft because people complain because they have a home. They always host the Thanksgiving game, and they took that 10-day break away. And we're going to get into that because we do have a 10-day break coming up to us, and it's for your squad. So I'm excited about that. But I'm actually happy that we're not going overseas. What do you?
Well, I mean, when you look at the teams that they go over there, I mean, Jacksonville seems to be the team now, and I mean because they probably they definitely get way more in attendance there than they are here at home in Florida. I mean, you got Tampa and you got Miami, so most of the people usually root for one of those teams. If you're not, of course, Cowboy Nation, where you're just spread all over across. But I mean, you dabble in anybody. I mean, you got people coming from the north down here, so. Jacksonville being that team now, if you took Cowboys game away from a home field just to advertise them, I don't think you're making more money in that long run, but you are making more money when you put a team like Jacksonville, a team that's maybe Cleveland. I don't even want to say Cleveland because they have some loyal fans.
Jacksonville, you know how that works with Jacksonville. They get very little revenue from their stadium. They're willing to go overseas. They get a flat fee for going. I don't blame you, Jacksonville. Mark Hutchins, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for showing up.
And thank you. Joe's in the house. Mike Aldana, of course. Mike Aldana. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say before we go back more into the schedule, Mike did bring up the fact that Micah has been working with Andrew Whitworth. And I did see an interview with that, talking about how he was really kind of helping Micah. Micah was asking questions, which kind of threw him off with the whole thing in the beginning. But the fact that he was telling him, when an offensive lineman in third down, this is the reason why he puts his hands here, and maybe he's looking for leverage there. So he's telling him what a pro, lineman is thinking as he's doing the rush or he's protecting against him. And so you cannot tell me that that's not going to bring way more to his arsenal.
Honestly, I was out of the loop, Mike. I did not know that. Phil, after I saw your comment, I said, did that happen? That's impressive, man. A guy like Andrew Whitworth, who's a stud, who I know he's not coming out of retirement, but he is available. And as much as we thought Jason Peters was good, Andrew Whitworth is better. So, he's a Hall of Famer. So is Jason Peters. But Andrew Whitworth, the fact that he would do that for Micah, and help him, that can only help, man. That can only help. Look at some of the chat here. Lady Lieber, how are you? Jojo, what's going on?
Yeah, seeing her. Yes.
Mark Holmes is in the house. I just saw your video, Mark. I was downstairs while Phil was doing some things in the studio. You look exhausted, my man. I'm not going to tell you to get sleep because Mark don't sleep. Mark, he's like a vampire. He may sleep like 4 or 5 hours, but he's go, man.
Oh, definitely. And we were talking. So he's probably ear is ringing. So we were talking about the stuff that he does. All how he's just exactly go. And it's crazy to see that guy have that much energy.
Man, he's killing. I can't wait. I was just talking to my wife, and when Mark gets a little further along, we're gonna go when he gets it ready to. Handle people and have a get together. We're gonna go down there for a barbecue. And you see the new digs, man. It looks awesome. But Mark Hutchins, he likes the 9 home games. Yeah, that's on a rotation schedule. So we'll have 9 this year, and then we'll go back to the 8. That's another thing. Dallas had, sometimes, we did what we did last year, and I'll go back to what me and Phil were talking about is. Dallas won the, division 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. We followed that up with a 12-win season. Normally, that wins you a division. Shout out to the Eagles. And we're going to, just real quick, shout out to Jalen Hurts. I give him a lot of credit for what he did.
Congratulations,
Jalen Hurts, you are the man for going back to college and getting your master's degree.
That's awesome.
At the University of OU. If somebody does that, you got to give them a shout out because he don't have to do that. He's not hurting for money. He'll never have to work another day in his life if he doesn't want to. So Jalen Hurts, you are the man for doing that. still hope you have a crappy season. But,
yeah, they're two things are separate. Those two things are separate. Totally. But no, I as soon as I saw that little thing and saw his graduation, I was like, wow, great job. It was very, hey, you push football aside and it's a humanity kind of thing more. Just, it's hard to go back sometimes, especially when something is paid for you and you've done well to get a contract. When you look at even his agents, I mean, he has an all-women's team, just an all-star crew of agents that help him out. So, I mean, that itself is amazing on itself, because they are a badass team. So, he's definitely doing a lot of good stuff, and that was a great thing. But again, when we push that aside, we definitely want to just wreck you and cause your season to be a little bit harder than what you plan it to be. So, but again, congratulations on that.
Yeah, Twiz, he is a great human, and we get caught up in the, Eagles-Cowboys thing, and all due respect to most of the Eagles content creators, I'm not going to name the guy's name, but it's just constant trolling. It's like they just constantly bring up the Cowboys. So I feel obligated. Listen, I bring up the Eagles, and I know Angelica, who I don't see in here. I feel as though it's my job, to bring the Eagles up. We got Eagles fans that are part of our family here. Not that I like the Eagles. People know the deal.
Hey, there's some people.
We're going to bring them up, and we're going to talk about them, and we're going to give them props when we can.
Yeah.
But
there's people in your family you may not like all the way.
It doesn't mean we're going to break bread now.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so I had to bring that up. I thought that was impressive. Anytime somebody could do that, I'm going to give them a shout out. We're going to move on quickly from that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jalen, if you're watching, you're the man. But
that's it.
I hope Micah takes you down. But, just looking at some of the schedule highlights, what does the chat think about it? What are you excited about? Because I wrote a few things down, and, I did say no overseas games. The October 8th is Sunday night game at Levi Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That's an early game to play the Niners. I'm fine with that. I mean, that's like the next. After the season opener, we don't play a divisional home game for a while.
Well, let's after we play the Giants, you got the Jets, and I think before obviously this whole thing would have been a whole different ball game. But when you put Aaron Rodgers in the mix, it means something. Now, of course, McCarthy and everything. So, that's not one of those automatic win type where it would have been in the past. I mean, so even Sam Darnold kind of destroyed us when he was with the Jets.
Sam Darnold smoked our what?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at that matchup, I think that one's going to be a really tough one, and it's really early in the season. So even if you're riding a high from that Giants game, you're definitely going to have to come back down to the reality once you're playing Aaron Rodgers. And it's too early in the season for there to be a bad Aaron Rodgers
that's injuries.
If we lose
Aaron Rodgers again, Phil, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. It's time that we beat him, and if we were at New York, I would be worried about that game, but I think we're going to tune him up. I just do, but, I don't know about Mike McCarthy. He's already out indefinitely with back surgery. I don't know if you saw that, but he's not available for the mini camp.
The rookie mini camp that's happening.
He's not available. He's recovering from back surgery, so he better get his act together because Aaron Rodgers just tunes him up. So, okay, so that's kind of a weird game, the Jets. But with Aaron Rodgers, it makes it more interesting, and at least it's at home.
Yeah.
But then
Arizona, which Arizona? Yeah, what Arizona team are you going to get? Is this the one that's like in the beginning of the season where they're like, oh, okay, they're making an amazing run?
Ready? Do we know if Kyler's going to be ready? I don't know. Is he going to be ready that soon? Michael Dana, I know you know what you're talking about. We always seem to struggle against Arizona in Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh no, because he smoked us at AT&T. I don't know that he's going to be ready to go. I assume so, but I'm not positive. But we should win that game. They're not very good. They lost a lot of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We should,
be able to. Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that.
It's just one of those non-divisional road games. At least it's early. I think we should roll that game. And then it's home against New England.
Yeah, which they're still trying to figure out their identity.
Again, we're home against back-to-back AFC East opponents. Kind of weird, right? I kind of would rather have them now than later in the season. So I guess that's fine. But
Yeah, because before they're pushing for the playoffs and trying to make it.
It's just a little weird that we're not playing any of our NFC East other than at the Giants week 1.
Yeah.
And then then we get into October 8th, like I was talking about, where it's at Levi Stadium against the Niners. It's earlier in the season. I like that. It's funny. I was just telling Phil before we went live, the Eagles get the Niners and the Bills at home, but yet we got to go to the Bills and to the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
So you say who's got the hardest schedule? We'll get, I don't know that we're going to touch on the Eagles schedule tonight, but we will with our next broadcast. That thing's got some potholes in it, man. That's got some craters.
Anybody
who's looking at that schedule saying they're going to just roll is not being realistic.
Yeah, especially not taking into consideration injuries, any of that kind of stuff, rookie stuff. Offense is trying to figure out their defense, just trying to figure it out as well too. I mean, there's a lot of still moving pieces in there, and I mean they got a great roster, but again, it's very young, and even with the coordinators, it's very young. So, will they be able to start off hot, or was it going to be a little stumble? So there's some stuff there.
Mike Aldana says there's no gimmies this season. Listen, it's the NFL. You know how that works. There is no gimmies. And the other thing I'm happy about in a way is that week 1 is away. I never really like having opening week. I never liked having opening week at home. It seems like I like to go on the road and get it out of the way. Oh, what do you mean by that, Alana? Elena?
Favoritism.
What do you mean by that?
But no, I mean,
I do remember. I remember her saying it. It's
okay.
Elena. I'll get it right. So, explain that, Elena. We give a lot of love to you, Eagles.
I mean, I think just in the sense when you look at San Francisco, what quarterback is going to be leading them? Is it, is Garoppolo still, not there obviously anymore? So you don't really have that. You got some young guys there. Brock Purdy did a really good job, even as a backup, even if they go Trey Lance. Is Trey Lance even going? So there's a lot of questions there, but there's still going to be extremely tough matchup because you make it all the way to the Super Bowl with not your starting quarterback. That says something about the rest of your team.
I'll be curious to see if he's ready by then.
Well, even in general, I mean, then you turn around, you build a team to really be able to contend. I think when you look at really any team, I think that's really what kind of concerns me. Okay, so when you look at a team like, for example, the Chicago Bulls, when they were having a problem getting past Detroit, wasn't Detroit winning championships, and so you were trying to beat a championship team. And when you look at San Francisco's not a championship team. They're a team that has been stopping you from getting to a championship. So if you build a team to beat this team, what are you really building? You're not building a championship team. You're building a team to beat somebody to get a chance to go to the championship because they themselves are not champions themselves. So it kind of gets to me, what are you really building here?
Yeah, everything fell apart for the Niners in that Eagle playoff game. It made our game look bad. It really did. Now, our game was close with the Niners. It was. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, they beat us again. They have our number. The thing is, they're not going on and winning that Super Bowl to really stick that knife in. They're choking the following week. Now, shout out to the Eagles, Brandon Graham. He knocked out Brock Purdy. And then the backup got knocked out, and then, all hell broke loose. But, and Atlanta, I know. I was just saying, it's just when you look at the schedule, teams like Seattle, it's always harder playing on the road. Buffalo, harder playing on the road. The Niners, I don't know. I think Niners are good.
No matter where they go,
Yeah, they're physical, home or away. I was just playing. But, so after the Niners, then they're at the Chargers. This one's interesting. So they may stay in California, right? If they're in San Fran and then they're in the Chargers, we get Kellen Moore. So Kellen's going to pull out all the stops, people.
Yeah, I as much as I want to beat Kellen and everything, I just don't see us getting this
Cowboy,
one.
What up?
It depends obviously what we're looking at, what our defense is looking at. I think, Bryan and I were talking this defense really setting up to be something crazy here.
It's going to be sick, people. Yeah. I'm telling you now, this defense is going to be dynamic.
24/7.
It's my opinion, but I stand by it. It's going to be dynamic. It was already top 5 last year. What they added although not sexy early on, and we get caught up in names and sexy, it's going to be dynamic. Some of these guys that got later, that they got later in the draft, watch out. I can sit here and talk smack, and I'll bring up their names in a little bit, but it's going to be good. So it's whether our offense can be close to our defense, 3/4 of our defense. If that can happen, we were already a top scoring offense last year. Well, as you know, it's being said that we're going to the West Coast. We'll see. It's all talk right now. It's all chit chat, and I don't know that we're going to the true West Coast. I'll believe it when I see it. Gina, Dallas, Diva. Oh my God, I'm so tired of the 40 whiners.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, back then, we're going to go back to the 90s, but it's not about the championship. It's about when the rivalry meant something, and that's where, the last time that it did mean anything between both teams. So, yeah, I mean, it's really kind of building that back up and kind of bringing that back up to the surface. And then you kind of, it's even the crap talking that goes between the Niner fans and everything. So,
Gina,
you're a different white.
I would think that Gina would agree with me. Twiz, no offense, but the Niners are more our rivalry than the Eagles as far as we can't seem to beat the Niners. The Eagles, when Dak plays, we usually win and put up 40 points. That's just a fact. No disrespect, but the Niners seem to have our number. We need to get over that hump, man. So that game at Levi is going to be interesting. If we could set a tone there, do what we got to do at the beginning of the season, go in there and make a statement, then roll into the Kellen Moore fiasco game. I hope we beat him. Knowing him, he'll pull out all the stops and actually look competent against us. We normally beat the Chargers, but we're not going to do a win-loss. We'll throw out our schedule predictions. We'll do a win-loss another time. Early on, I'll give you what I think Dallas is going to do, but probably a split there somehow. But I hope not. Obviously, you want to win them all. But after the Chargers, we have a bye. So we play, 7 games? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we only play 7 games and then have a bye. It's a little early for me, Phil. I don't know what you think about that, but we have a bye, and then we roll into our home games. So, don't look to me for the true scale.
Yeah, I don't know what he's...
I'm the son of Satan.
Oh, good for you, man. Well, welcome to the chat, I guess.
Is that what you mean? I don't know. But he gone. But,
No, anyways, so I mean, when you get to the next game, of course, you got a bye week. Week 7, you got a bye.
Yeah, week 8. Well, you play 7, so it's a little early for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But hey, it is what it is,
And then you got the Rams.
Home against the Rams.
Home's against the Rams. And then, of course, you got what are the Rams going to look like? A lot of teams, when you're looking at a lot of the guys on the ESPN Sport, whatever you're watching, you're seeing that one automatically as a loss for the Cowboys. Now, again, that may be something that you may say, but what are the Rams' identity by this point? If we're going off of last year and what they look like, oh no, we're swiping that slate clean and we're giving them another chance, but I think they pick and choose of which ones they wipe clean and they give another chance. It's just kind of crazy. And the Rams tend to be one of those teams, like, automatically, because they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, they have to be good now. So, we'll see what happens there. But I think that one's going to be a battle.
Yeah, Mark Hutchin has a question. Why don't they have the bye weeks within 2 weeks of the middle of the season? That's above my pay grade, Mark. It makes a lot of sense to me. Just like it makes a lot of sense if you play a Thursday game to follow it up with a bye week. Or before. I know it's hard making the schedule, but just real quick, we'll get to it. But I'm annoyed if Mark's still in the house that the Commanders game is the last game of the year in Washington. And I know Queen Bella was there last year. I don't like going out freezing my butt off in the cold when I could be home with a his 75-inch TV, watching it and enjoying myself. But I don't know. I may have to go, but it's just annoying that game is the last game of the year yet again. It seems like it happens a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm a little annoyed at that, but we'll get to the next game.
And even with that, let's say, for example, why don't teams just have 2 bye weeks? By this point,
That's what I was saying.
get one in the beginning, get one towards the end, and then right before the playoffs, just 2 bye weeks. I wouldn't be anything especially.
If I was the players, I think it's worth adding an extra game to get more money and add a second bye week.
Yeah.
Just stretch the damn season out. Nobody wants it to end as it is. When it ends, we're all like... And there's plenty of weeks left to go before anything happens, before college basketball really kicks off. Just extend it and get 2 bye weeks. IROC, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Yep. Nice to see you, man. I appreciate you coming through.
Satan gone, Gina. Satan's got no place in here. So where we at, Phil? We did after the bye, we host the Rams. I like that. That's nice. And then we go Wiz. We play you in Philly November 5th, man. That's gonna be warm. I live there, man. That's a little early to be playing in Philly. I love that. I like it. So I don't know what you think. But,
it's like a month in between the next time where you meet. But
that's fine. That's a 4:25 primetime game. Maybe Mark will want to go to the game. I don't know. He's been talking about going to an Eagle game, so we'll see.
So next following week, then obviously the Giants come into town.
Yes.
And there's it right there, back-to-back divisional. This is where the schedule. They really kind of put this to the back to try to get people more sucked in to the end of the season. Things are coming down to the end because obviously nothing was decided in the beginning of the season with this division, just other than records. I mean, if it's pretty. Here's the thing, if it's pretty ridiculous by that point, at least now teams have a chance to go, okay, I won a game and then I made you lose a game. So I'm catching up, So there's some benefits to this, and I think it's more towards the ratings.
It's all geared toward the ratings. As it's no shock to me that Dallas, again, they're only allowed to have, 6 primetime late night games, and they are maxed out. They do it all the time. It is what it is. It makes it tough sometimes, but I think the schedule actually favors Dallas, not so much in the matchup, by the actual schedule. Because, like Phil said, we play the Giants, we're at the Eagles, and then we're home against the Giants, and then we're at Carolina. I might be going to that game. That's going to be...
Yeah, Carolina will be a different team,
kind of in the middle of a bunch of divisional games at Carolina. Dallas Cowboys have one 1 o'clock game. That's it. All year. That tells you everything you need to know about what the NFL ratings. One early game. The rest is 4:25 in prime time. So I like the early game, but we're only getting one, So
get it out. Get out of the way, right?
Get out of the way, I guess.
So then, right after that, he was saying you got some division games. So obviously Carolina, and then you go to you're home to Washington.
This is our 3 games at home in a row. Now get a load of this. We're in Carolina, right? On Sunday, November 19th. That's the 1 o'clock. Then we turn around real quick for the Thanksgiving Day game. And go ahead, Phil. You can go ahead.
And then we finally get that Thursday night game.
It's the Washington.
So you got Washington. That's the Thursday, and then the following Thursday you have another game. No 10 game.
Cowboys. Yeah. So the Cowboys are home on back-to-back Thursdays. Remember back in the day, and the Eagles fans, the Eagles ownership, you were the ones who complained that Dallas would have the Thanksgiving Day game, then get 10 days off to play another usually home game. So they've been kind of screwing Dallas as of late to give them a away game before so Dallas has to go across the country to Carolina to play in Carolina for an early game, which is actually noon in Dallas, to then come home on a short day's rest to play the Commanders left hand up, which is fine, But then this is where I was talking. Then we stay home, like Phil said, on Prime TV,
Prime Video, yep.
Against the Seahawks the following Thursday. We play them at home. I like that. I'd rather play the Seahawks in our place than go to the 12th man. That place is scary.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree.
I don't care who's their quarterback. I mean, listen, I think they're going to be good this year. I thought they had a great draft. And then, Twiz, after Seattle, we're home Thursday and Thursday. We have a 10-day break before we're home again for the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. Come on, man. You're coming into a hornet's nest there, big guy. I like it. So
that's what makes those are little parts of it that makes the Eagles schedule a little bit harder. And so these are the things that we're talking about, where you play good teams in their stadium. Right. You know, we avoid Seattle Stadium, so that's something. It's a bit, you know. So I mean, those little things add up, and not many people think of that as a factor, but they're huge factors. And not having the rest sometimes in between, where you're playing 4 games in a 19-day stretch. So it's like, there's a lot of things that kind of factor into this. And then right as soon as you're done with Philly, which is going to be a tough matchup, I don't care for either one, whether people are playing it, it's always a tough matchup. Right. Then you turn around, you follow, and you go to Buffalo in the cold weather.
I think it gets hard for me because...
No, go ahead.
You know what I mean? Because it's like where I was telling Elena, going to Buffalo.
I agree.
At that time of the year, it's a little different. Come on, it's a little different. But it is what it is. I kind of would rather play them in the cold. They're such a physical, fast team rather than in our controlled environment. That's fine. It is what it is. You have to beat the teams anyway. But it's a tough stretch because we're at Buffalo, and then on Christmas Eve we play at Miami. So all those who thought that we would make a road trip to Miami for a Dallas-Miami game, I'm out. Sorry, it's Christmas Eve. I'm not going to Miami for Christmas Eve.
That might be me.
It sounds good, but I just, I'm probably not going to go. So. And then, you go ahead, Phil. Then we
go home. Back home, you have to travel, go back home. Hopefully it's not, because hopefully by that point we get some kind of home field advantage. But obviously, I'm hoping to get into the playoffs. I mean, I know we feel pretty good about getting to double digits with the way that this is really kind of set up.
Ultra Cowboys in the house. Can you see? Hey, Ultra, we're going to figure this out. Thanks for showing up, my man. He says not worried about the Pistons. But Phil I think it's something to do with the software. We're going to take care of this, but I've
been trying to figure it out.
Yeah, since you showed up, man, I make sure I have my cell phone out so I can see you. But we're going to work on that after the broadcast and maybe try and figure it out or whatever. We'll see. But, our last regular season home game is home against Detroit. It's a night game as well. So it's a Saturday night game on ESPN. December 30th. So that's not New Year's Eve, the day before New Year's Eve. And then we round out the year, like I told you, our regular season in Washington.
They don't even know what time.
I would rather we end up in the New York Jets, but I know why they do it. I think Washington's going to be better, and we'll get our final predictions at the very end. We're just going to go over, after briefly looking at everybody's schedule in the East, the NFC East. At least I'm going to give you what I think is going to happen. We'll see. It's all fun and games. Obviously who I'm going to pick. Come on, man. That's how I roll. But so.
Well, I mean, when you look at this schedule, again, nothing really surprising in some of those. I think the two Thursdays was kind of a little bit thrown off, but really, honestly, it's at least there's a week. There's not like there's 3 days or 4 days. They played on the Sunday, then they got to play on that Thursday. It's nothing like that. So it's there's the positive. I mean, there are some times where they have to play through some stretches, but again, it's nothing that this team can't overcome. But I think it's pretty favorable to actually be able to hit at least double digits, if not another 12-5 season. So
we can give our predictions now. We rattled off. Now, did you look at the other? I'll do mine first. I have Dallas winning the division with 12 wins. If you look at their schedule, it's an easy 12. Unless there's a major injury, they're going to win 12 games. Based on that, they're going to win 12 games. Twiz, you're not going to like this. I think the Eagles win 11. I think the Eagles go 11-6, man. I mean, could they win more? Yeah, but I'm just going by the numbers and what tends to happen. The Eagles are going to make the playoffs. They may go farther than Dallas. I'm not getting into the playoffs, but I just going by. Usually, that same team doesn't win. Yeah, it's been since what 2003, 2004 since the same team. It was the Eagles, but I just think Dallas has gotten better. I just have. I think the Eagles. Yeah, they've gotten a lot of talent, young talent, and we're going to quickly break that down before we leave today. At least I have a couple things I want to bring up. But a real good college team, or like Phil said earlier to me when we were talking, 4 players off of a national championship team isn't like the best college team gets smoked by the worst NFL team. So, hate to say it. Now, Twiz is saying 13 or 14. Come on, man. That's laughable. You know that. You know it is. That's a trolling thing. If you were, I would say 11 or 12, and I would be like, okay, 13 or 14? Come on, man. See that schedule? We'll break it. We'll break that down next week.
Yeah, I think they may be right behind us. Whether it's 10 wins or
It's
11 wins,
close.
it's going to be right there.
And
I
if
could
there's
see
an
us.
injury, then fine.
I can see us getting to 13,
If
but
Jalen Hurts gets hurt like he did towards the end of the year, you ain't gonna get no close to 13 wins. You lost every game he was out. So that should have showed you, right? You literally lost.
you got Mariota, right, as their backup. Yeah,
Now you got Marcus Mariota.
not bad, not
It's
bad.
not bad, but Minshew was fine. So, but yeah. So I mean, but I don't know if you guys heard. Oh wait, yeah. Well, let me get to. I got the Giants finishing at 9-8, Phil.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
I looked at the schedule briefly. We'll get into it more. Obviously, injuries before the season, and then I got the Commanders at 8-9. So I got 12-5, 11-6, 9-8, 8-9. I think they all could vie for a playoff spot, honestly, and that's all that really matters. Because now with the new rules, only one team gets a bye. So unless you're the best team in the whole, NFC, you're gonna get the bye. Eagles, you got it last year by getting off to a good start. I think they're gonna struggle, but we'll break their schedule down at a later date. We just wanted to touch on the Cowboys schedule. I will bring up Jalen Carter. He was sued. I'm sure everybody knows by now why he dropped to number 10. He's a hell of a talent, but it's very, very immature. He has gained weight. He couldn't even keep the weight off before the combine, which you would think that.
So I mean, I have to wonder too. I mean, is it more of a guy that's kind of does that the Jamarcus Russell thing where now you're in the NFL, I've made it kind of thing, or is it because he's depressed? Angelica. Is it because he's depressed? Maybe because of his friend passing away.
So it died when he was racing his friend. If anybody in the chat doesn't realize what happened was he was street racing his friend, and his friend died. Now he's getting sued. Now, thank God he signed a guaranteed contract. But this just goes into the immaturity. I hope he turns his life around.
They waited till he got his contract and then they sued. Yeah,
things I'm hearing aren't great early on. I'm just going to put it out there. That doesn't mean it has any bearing on his NFL career. But this is what I was talking about being a high-risk pick. High risk, high reward. Howie Roseman didn't do anything special. He did what I would have done. But the fact that he doubled down, Phil, and did it again at 30 with an undersized edge rusher, there are 2 big question marks. Twiz, he's barely 6'2", 230-some pounds. He's got speed, but, I mean, we shall see about that. I say one of them work out. Pick it, Twiz. You know how it works with the NFL draft. NFL draft isn't if you can hit on 50% of your picks, you're in business. So we will see about that, but he is being sued, so that guarantees the money that he's putting in his pocket is going to take a hit because he's not going to win that suit. He's just not. It was just a formality, but I did want to bring that up. My last thing regarding the Cowboys is I don't think Zeke's coming back.
I agree.
Just looking at all the names, you got Pollard. You got Deuce Vaughn now. You got Malik Davis. You got Rico. They just re-signed. You got Ronald Jones is in the fold. Not to mention the fullback that they drafted.
Yeah, Hunter. Yeah.
Lepke or something like that. Yeah, another guy. As much as it would be a feel-good story, I don't think Zeke's coming back. He's good. If he was smart, Zeke, if you're watching, I love you, bro. I hope you're back with us. But hold out, wait for an injury, and go to a contender.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sign too early unless somebody blows. I would just wait for an injury on a team. That's what I would do. I would hope that he would come back, but I don't see it happening, people. I don't. So, that's what I was saying. Twiz, we won't anything for 3 years.
Everyone know anything for 3 years.
Turned out, yeah, I agree. That's everybody gets caught up in draft day grades, and it's funny you said that. We're gonna touch on a few of our draft picks before we get out of here. Me and Phil and the women are going to dinner, so we wanted to get our show in. It feels like it's been forever. I don't know about you.
It does.
It feels like it's been forever. He's been a gracious host. He's a great guy, man. I appreciate everything you've done for me, Phil.
Thanks, man.
Me and my wife. His setup is second to none. Let me just tell you, he has everything. This is like the war room. So this is what I could live with if I could.
Blue
get
virus. You look pretty high.
I'm not high.
No, he's not.
But
thank you. Thank you, Blue Virus.
At least one of us isn't high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm pumped.
But who? Okay, so Mark's asking, who's y'all's favorite draft pick? It's hard
it's
not
easy to say.
It's
Go
hard
ahead,
not.
Phil.
I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite one, but like Mozzie Smith is that's an animal. That's going to be an amazing thing. Whether he's getting stats or not, he's going to be able to take up some blocks. Teaming him up with Hankins, I don't know. Hopefully there's no. There's nothing that happens there in the sense of, injuries. I mean, Hankins had something last year, whether he's older and everything. So, I mean, as much as I want to, but teaming them up definitely excites me a little bit. Schoonmaker, I think, is going to complement this tight end crowd so well. Pick's not what we wanted.
No.
But, man, he's going to sell jerseys.
He's
He's going to get touchdowns.
He's
going to be amazing in this offense.
Yeah.
It just, to me, I think Jake Ferguson was like an ultimate guy for this offense. But then when you see what Schoonmaker does, you're doing the same thing. I mean, this guy is exactly the same. They're very big. My favorite guy is Overshone, the linebacker. I'm interested to see what they do with him. To me, and we mentioned this, that he just reminds me of a Wilson, a Donald Wilson, a Javon Curse, a guy that you can bring in there. So if one of those guys is hurt,
I agree with that.
He can be that backup, or he can be that guy as well. So that would be my favorite. But it's hard not to like a lot of these. Fehoko, I like his body of work, how aggressive he is. Richard.
That's the one I was telling Phil. I don't know a lot about this. He goes by Junior in Fehoko. Now he's Samoan. He's like related to.
Yeah, Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
Yes.
Dude, if you watch the film, this dude is incredible. Now, I am hearing from some scouts that it's a boom or bust pick. You know what? At that point, at number 29 in the 4th round, if he's a boom, you're playing with house money at that point. I mean, that's impressive that a guy like that was on the board. He didn't look big to me until I saw his size. He looks wide. The dude is 6'4".
Yeah.
And he's quick and he's nasty. So it seemed, I don't know if you guys are getting the theme of this draft is nasty.
Yeah. So, and then Mark brings it up. How do y'all feel about Deuce? I mean, God, you can't help but love that story. I mean, it's just, I watch it. I think the first time I ever watched it, I was obviously in the airport traveling back from the draft, and I was tearing up. There was something in there because that means something. This guy has this was his job, and as much as he didn't want to be biased, he took himself out of the whole situation and kind of, he didn't want to be part of the equation to kind of feel like, or they're being biased. You look at him, we lost Tony Pollard for a little bit of last year. We don't know what Tony Pollard we have going into this season. I know what we want, and I know what we could possibly have, but I really look at him and being just like, he's just a smaller Tony Pollard, a guy that can almost score from any point in the on the field in general. So
he's interesting to me. His footwork, his feet never come off the ground, but yet he's moving forward. People go, he's not fast, he's not quick. I would argue that he is quick, but he's just not speed gun or timed fast.
I mean, when you look at him, I mean, there's some negatives when you say it. I mean, obviously his size, it's going to be a benefit because he can run behind some offensive linemen. And you won't see him until he's already at full speed and he's breaking off to the side. So those are benefits to it. But when Dak has to throw it out of the pocket to throw it to him, and he's a shorter target. So, I mean, you still have to be right on the money when it comes to that. And then, then he kind of takes the ball and does his thing. But it's amazing to watch him. He doesn't have breakaway speed, but it's hard to catch him still.
Angelica, I am in Florida. I've been down visiting Phil for the last 3 days, so I'm out of here tomorrow. But yes,
taking him to eat at so many different spots. Showed him Marco
Island.
Showed him where I work. Yeah.
Hey, Angelica, I did take my wife on a 4-hour. It ended up being 4 hours because of the traffic to Universal Studios on Thursday. That was the one thing I had to do was take her to into there to see the new Harry Potter stuff. It was good. Leaving there wasn't too bad. We made it back to Phil's in like 3:15. But yeah. So yeah.
I love how enormous is saying. I love it.
But yeah. So I have to look at my phone for juice. I mean for Ultra.
Yeah. I try to.
Yeah, he says Overshown reminds me Cam Chancellor. Did I not tell you that?
Yeah, that's
exactly who I said that he reminds me of. And if you can, you get to the quarterback, or you could just he's going to be a dynamic special teamer to start out with, which you need them. People poo-poo that, but you need them. Not to mention, he's going to be molded into an all-around tackler, pass rusher. He's going to come from all areas.
He's not afraid to tackle. He's not great at it, but
I was a little shocked when they took him, but after digging into him, I'm excited about him. I hope it comes to what everybody's thinking that he's going to be. So.
And then the one, there's ones that are in there that we're hearing words. You don't know if it's just fluff. Is it like if it's just like Josh Ball, where you're like, okay, you're getting excited, and you're like, is it you have Asim Richards.
Yeah.
That one is an interesting question. I just want to see him in camp. I want to see him in bodies. I don't want to jump to conclusions with that at all.
Yeah, I think if he works out, that's going to cost Josh Ball his roster spot.
I'm okay with that.
It is what it is. I'm hearing a lot of good things about what they think. They had a 4th round pick grade on Asim Richards, and they got him
Jeff Lee
late in the 5th. So
sugar daddy.
I'm good with that. Shout out to the 24 people that are watching now. There's a guy that I don't know nothing about, and I will defer to Phil. DMV brought him up and did a little film session, so hit up DMV up on Twitter and YouTube. Eric Scott Jr., DB out of Southern Mississippi. Now, what do you know about Eric Scott Jr.?
Now, when they talk about this guy, they get excited. When you look at our defensive back, Al Harris, a great defensive back coach, great defensive back in general when he played. When you hear him talk about Eric Scott, he gets excited. He talks a lot about Bland as well, and how last year, for example, they were in the same exact spot, almost in the same position where you're talking about this guy. Will he be able to even contribute? Why are you kind of drafting him later in the round? Does he mean? And then look what Bland ended up turning into. Whether it's a one-season thing or he can continue it, he definitely looks like the body of work can continue with the way that he plays. So when they talk about him, they kind of put him in that same category. And I think that's what, when some of these coaching staff guys, you don't know some of these players, and then you hear him, Steele's doing an amazing job. He's our guy. And then you saw him come in, and boom, he did his thing. Tyler Biotish, same thing. They kind of like, no, we're not even thinking about center. With me, I wanted to take, what was his name from Baltimore? The center that was last year from Iowa, Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, Linderbaum. Nice grab. That was impressive.
And so I wanted to take Linderbaum, and because I wasn't sure about Biotish, and they were just like, no, we're Tyler Smith. Boom. They knew their guy. They went and got him, and that's kind of what the same thing with this one. They kind of put him in there. Athleticism is there. Maybe this guy can kind of make you forget about Kelvin Joseph a little bit.
Think about this. They drafted him 178 in the 6th round, and they traded away next year's 5th. So they had, I'm not don't hold me to it, but I want to say they had a 4th-round grade on him as well. So they traded next year as 5. Now, they'll get a comp pick for somebody. They just will. So it's not a big deal. But they did trade next year's 5th round to move up to grab this guy. I'm always going to, rely on our director of pro scouting, Will McClay. I'm going to just rely on what he knows, and he brought him up, ex-Eagle, the cornerback coach. What's his name?
Al Harris.
Al Harris. Yes, I will rely on him. Sugar Daddy Williams. LL was more speed than strength. I do agree.
I think he was ultra. He was talking to Ultra.
Leonard Little. So I guess he was talking about Overshown, maybe. Ultra Cowboy. I saw Leonard Little up close at the Dome in St. Louis. Same type of player. Were we talking about Overshown, Sugar Daddy? Let's see. Blue Virus. Dan Quinn looked so happy in his interview today. Yeah, I didn't see that. So when I get home tomorrow, I'm going to check all them out. Dan Quinn looked so happy. Yeah. I did see a little something where, I don't know if you guys heard that Micah is saying that he's making a full transition to edge rusher, which he's not going to be at the star. It's just not a big deal, people. It's not the end of the world. Let's not make it out to be. But he's going to bulk up.
No, he looked bigger in that Phillies jersey.
Yeah, just so he can be a little more healthy getting through this. Let's face it, he's going up against guys that are bigger. As big as he is, that's why in Twiz I was talking about the number 30 pick, Nolan Smith out of Georgia. He's nowhere near the size of Micah. So if he's going to be like an edge rusher, that's what I was talking about. But be that as it may, right, Mark Holmes?
No kicker, enormous. No kicker. No kicker.
So we'll see. But Dan Quinn had come out supposedly, and you could help me out with this, Blue Virus. He said that Micah is still going to play some linebacker. So I'm a little confused. So I'm not sure what was said there. Enormous. We do not have a kicker. No, we're going to go with Jerry Jones.
2-point conversions.
Maybe the son, the quarterback who couldn't make it in college will come in. I don't know. We'll get somebody.
Awesome.
Damone Clark played middle linebacker. Damone's going to be in the mix. You could rest. Telling you, Mark, this defense is going to be nasty. It is going to be deep. It's just going to be good, man. We were already good. We're going to be bordering on great. Yeah. What I was telling Phil is it may even be super.
So I mean, when you look at these guys, I mean, you're asking, will Fehoko be better? Great career, but can he be better than some of the guys that he's going to be just taking the place of? I think that's the big one. I mean, we have some guys that, like you look at Richards. We're talking about Richards, for example. I mean, who's he taking his place? It's just obviously right. Alden Cohen is not there anymore, so there's that spot. Josh Ball kind of needs to step up. There's that spot. So there is. Can they replace somebody and play better than what that guy is? That's how you're going to improve. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing going into camp. Seeing these guys actually get some bodies on them. Are they getting blown by every single time? And they're going to have a hard defense to go against. So I think that's going to be a really good test to see what they're going to be able to do and hold up. Is Walesko anything?
Yeah. So. Sugar Daddy Williams, his agent wants that DN money. Yeah, that's that's a big part of it. But I don't need Micah to say he's exclusive, but I know why he's doing it. I would still want him to have that, make them defenses. I don't want him lying. I want him still moved around. Let's put it that way. He could ultimately play at the end, but I wouldn't mind him rushing from up the middle at times. You got to remember we got
Sam Williams.
It's Sam Williams that, in my opinion, he's going to have a breakout year. He matured a lot over the course of the year. Remember, he was in that bad accident. He's a good kid. He was coming on. I think he ended up with 5 or 6 sacks in limited play. So if he busts out, man, that's what I said. Just get ready. This defense is going to be nasty. It's going to be fast. We brought back Hankins, and we went out and got Mozzie Smith, who that's the one thing he does is shut the run down. So when Hankins is off the field, we're not going to be hurting. So
Well, see, here's the thing that I'm talking about, Enormous. I can totally get you, and that's what makes this nice debate is that you got a new offense going in, so you guys could see us going 98. You could be totally right as well too. We could stumble along the way with the new offense, but that's also the same thing as we look at the Eagles. You got the new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. It's changing. You got some people roughly. So that's the part that we're also saying. I mean, if you can see that and them stumbling, then you can see the team as well and Philly stumbling as well. But again, both could come out of the gates and be amazingly great. So we never know until the season goes. But yeah, you are correct. I mean, you never know until the season starts going, man.
yeah, I agree with Twiz. He plays ends and he will get beat up saying he can't do it, but he's better standing in 3-4. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about Micah or you're talking about Nolan Smith, but either one. I just want them to use Micah in a variety of ways, mainly rushing from the edge, but sometimes. Listen, if you're a center and you see Micah Parsons lined up over you, what are you gonna do? You're in deep dookie, man. You know that. So just move him around.
Yeah, Twiz, if you're talking about the three, you're talking about your guy Nolan.
Probably Nolan Smith.
Yeah, then I would agree. Standing up in the 3-4 as a linebacker on the outside would definitely benefit him a lot more.
But that's why he made it down to 30. Dallas didn't take him. Let's just remember they chose not to take him. Now. That'll be interesting to see, right?
Yep.
I was telling Phil, it'll be interesting to see the Mozzie Smith, Nolan Smith. Just like in the second round, Luke Schoonmaker versus Osiris Torrance, who was still on the board, who everybody had him mocked early on in the process to go into Dallas. So it'll be
I swear I'm going to get that audio. There's where I'm going to put Schoonmaker's name in there because it reminds me, every time I hear his name, I'm like, I think of Joe Dirt. It's just that... That's why your parents call you Joe Dirt. That's why they call you Joe Dirt instead of Schoonmaker. But it's something else. I know they don't say Schoonmaker, but that's always what I pop up in here.
Enormous. I could see 11-6 worst case. I could see 13, but I'm not going to do a Twiz and say 13-14. Yeah, I could see it potentially, but I'm going to go with 12. And I'm going to stand on my pedestal and say 12 wins the division this year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it does. The Eagles had a real cake schedule last year. We'll see. But you know how it works, people. If there's a major injury, the Cowboys Mafia agrees with me.
Yeah, he was there.
Mayer was still there, Twiz, but...
I was going to see, that's another one. There's a couple of them there. Definitely.
So you can look at Mayer versus Schoonmaker, right? You could look at that, so...
Blue Virus is going 14-3.
Hey, you could do that. I'm just trying to be realistic.
And I was jumping in that number as well too, Sugar Daddy. Just that, I could definitely see that with what they're saying. Another third season, boom, and I'd be okay with that. Did you be pretty happy coming away with it just depends on what those 5 games are, right?
Yeah, Mark Hutchin. I heard early last week that the word out on Hunt, the running back, I assume that's who you're talking to, was in Cleveland. Originally with the Chiefs, then with Cleveland. He's lost his step, supposedly. He's not that elite back. It's one of those things where we get caught up with the names. I was telling Phil, look for the Eagles to sign one of these guys. Eagles like the hot names.
Dalvin Cook, yeah, exactly. That's another one.
Dalvin Cook. I just don't see us picking anybody up. I think they like who they got. Unless there's a setback with Pollard, I don't see us making a move there.
For the best. Yeah, well, I mean, if we can get into the playoffs, Blue Virus, and then we need to improve in the playoffs. That's what we need to kind of do. But I totally get it.
What's up, Dano?
But yeah, definitely. But anyways, so we're going to get ready to kind of get out of here, but we're definitely going to be talking more schedule. I mean, it's still the off season, got rookie mini camps happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's still a lot of football to talk about these draft picks.
To break down.
And then and Enormous is saying as well too that Commanders and Giants improved. It's true. They got some really good draft picks. I mean, if you're looking at the Giants, I mean, Jalen Hyatt, that's going to be a weapon to stop. I mean,
look at their schedules, though. The schedules are rough.
They are, too.
The Giants' schedule is rough. That's why I don't know how they rate this crap, because if you look at it, just look at their schedule. That's where I got my numbers.
And you might be right as well, too. I mean, you could see none of the teams sweeping each other. It's just, they are definitely improving.
Even when Dallas was crap, we would split with the Eagles, and vice versa. Everybody gets, we're going to sweep. You didn't sweep last year. And that was your Super Bowl team.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's
again,
even with when you look at the thing. I mean, you lost. Didn't they lose them to Washington as well?
You went all in and didn't sweep us last year.
Yeah, I think the only one they swept was the Giants.
You beat our backup quarterback, right, to us?
And we beat theirs, right? We beat theirs.
Schedule, so do you have 3 different games? Yeah, Elena, I get it.
Thank you, Norris. I appreciate that, man. Blue Rise, you take care, man. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it. But yeah, thank you for joining us.
I mean, a little weird sitting next to him, but it is what it is. It's fun. I love being here, and he's a gracious host. He did put on deodorant, so I think at the end of the day, I'm good.
But anyways, I appreciate you guys coming through. Let us know in the chat, what do you think your record of your team's going to be? What do you think ours is going to be? If you want to give us 3 wins, tell us what 3 wins you actually think that will win. I mean, I want to know the facts, but I know one fact for sure is that you guys have been amazing. A heck of a chat. You got 24, 25, 30 people in here. And everybody has great opinions about the offseason, and I don't hear anything too ridiculous. I like that. If you're going to talk trash, at least it's not too ridiculous. I think the only ridiculous one, we kicked them out of here, and we all know what they were preaching. But anyways, Brian, anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Listen, I appreciate everybody that comes in. Sugar Daddy Williams, check out his YouTube channel. I was checking him out. It's pretty cool. He does the video games, the Grand Theft. He does say, I've never seen a schedule like the Giants' schedule this season. They finished the first half about 500. Look out. Yeah, it out of the gate it's rough, but no, I'm good, man. It does seem like it's been a long time since we've had a show, but it's been very busy and very hectic. With us going down to the draft, I worked 6 days, then I flew out to see Phil. So I'm getting my bearings. We're going to hit it hard soon. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, man. That's about all I got.
Yeah, and I appreciate everything. Share if you can. Hit that like button. Give me a comment. Anything that you do within, even if you're trash talking, give me the middle finger. That I'm okay with that as well, too. So, again, don't forget to what?
Always ring that bell.
Hey, that was the better one. That was a great job. I like it.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do, you're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
GameTime Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here,
Cool name. Superpowers?
broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you gonna tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil. And, of course, my co-host, GameTime Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.